Cooperative Extension Service, University of Maryland System presents Using Pesticides Safely, a 6-part training series for registered technicians. Program 2 focuses on understanding how to read the pesticide label so you can safely apply a pesticide. You'll learn why it's so important to check the label before you mix and apply a pesticide. And you'll see how the information on the label can be used to protect both you and our environment.
Pesticide labels have the force of law. The label itself, not just the pesticide, must be registered with the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, before the pesticide is sold. EPA reviews and approves each statement on the label, and federal and state laws require that you follow these directions. If you don't, you're breaking the law and you could be fined, jailed, or both. If the maximum rate of application specified on the label is 4 pounds per acre and you apply 8, you've broken the law. If the label tells you not to apply a pesticide where food is prepared, and you do, you've broken the law. If the label tells you to wear a respirator and you don't, you've broken the law, not to mention risking your own health. Remember, the label is the law. This $1 million piece of paper, called a pesticide label, is worthless if you don't read and understand it. It provides a tremendous amount of information. There are at least 5 times to read the label: to decide what pesticide product to use, just before you mix and apply it, before you store it, before you dispose of the container, and if you have a spill or someone gets sick. The time to get answers to all your questions is before you start. Let's look at a label, starting with the brand name. A key identifying character is the brand name, like Dursban 4E, or Roundup, or Cythion. The brand name is normally the most prominent item on the label. It's the manufacturer's name for their product, the name they use in their advertising, and the one you're most likely to recognize. But be careful about choosing a pesticide by brand name alone. Many companies use the same brand name with slight changes to designate different products. It's better to depend on the ingredient statement. All active ingredients in a product are listed. They are listed by official chemical name and or by the official common name. So this product's brand name is Dursban 4E. The official common name of the active ingredient is chlorpyrifos. The ingredient statement will also list the percentage of each active ingredient. Here, chlorpyrifos is the only active ingredient, and it is 44.9% of the product. Other ingredients make up the rest. These other chemicals help the product work, but don't actually poison the pest. The label will tell you what type of formulation the product is: granular, emulsifiable concentrate, wettable powder, or whatever. Usually you'll find this on the front panel. The manufacturer's name and address must appear on the label, along with the product's own unique EPA registration number. Also printed on the label must be the EPA establishment number, which identifies the plant where the product was made. Depending on the laws in your state, you may have to record these numbers for your files. We all know pesticides are toxic. The precautionary statement section of the label tells us how toxic the product is and what precautions need to be taken. First, look for the signal word. The signal word describes in general how poisonous or toxic the product is to humans. There are 3 possible signal words: caution, warning, and danger poison. Caution means slightly toxic. Warning, moderately toxic. Danger poison is extremely toxic and includes a skull and crossbones symbol. It means, watch out, this product is dangerous. For these products, just a taste to a teaspoonful of undiluted product could kill an average-sized adult. A pesticide labeled danger poison is usually classified as restricted use by EPA. That means that you have to be a certified applicator or be working under a certified applicator's direct supervision to apply it. The precaution section also tells you what protective clothing you'll need. It provides special warnings and instructions too, such as extremely toxic to birds or do not apply near water sources. Don't ignore these precautions. No one wants to be responsible for harming the environment, making someone ill, or worse. However, accidents happen, so every label has a section covering treatment and first aid. For example, a product might say if it is splashed in the eye must be flushed with water for 15 minutes, then examined by a doctor. The label will include special instructions to physicians describing emergency medical procedures and antidotes. Every label will also have a separate section explaining how to store the product and dispose of any leftover mix and the container. You'll learn more about this in Program 4 of this series. The next important section of the label may be called Directions for Use or General Instructions. This tells you everything about how to actually use the product. It may include a section for re-entry period, how long you must stay out of the treated area after an application is made, or possibly state a pre-harvest interval, how long to wait before you can harvest. To show you just how much information is contained in the directions section, let's meet Mike Raup. Mike's an expert in treating ornamental trees and shrubs. He'll walk you through an actual treatment.
Today I've got to treat these dogwood trees for borers. Even though I've used this pesticide many times, I still have to check the label. First, I make sure the application site is mentioned. It says flowering trees. That's required by law. I also like to be sure the pest is listed too. Here it says dogwood borers. I always check the precaution sections just before application. Here it tells me to wear goggles, protective clothing, and chemically resistant gloves. It also says that this material is highly toxic to honeybees. I've inspected the spray area underneath the trees to make sure there are no flowers or bee activity. A special precaution is listed under the directions for ornamentals. It says do not use on azaleas, camellias, poinsettias, rose bushes, or variegated ivy because of possible injury to these plants. I'm not spraying any of these plants today, just the dogwoods, but I inspect the spray area to be sure none of these plants are underneath in case my spray drifts. Now I read the mixing instructions. There's no way to remember this. I have to read it before every treatment. I'll need about 2 gallons of spray for this job. Here in the label, in the section for ornamental borer, it shows me to make 2 gallons of spray. I need to mix 1 ounce of this product with 2 gallons of water. The first thing I do is make sure my goggles and protective gear are in place. Next, I'll measure out the right volume of pesticide and put it in the tank. After that's in, I make sure that I put the top back on the bottle. This will avoid spills. Next, I secure my spray tank and begin to pressurize. This is my last chance to check for any kind of spills or leakage before I spray. The label says to use a coarse, low pressure application to the trunk and lower branches, like this.
Mike successfully treated those trees because he read and followed label instructions. Remember, the most important single statement in pest control The professional's motto for applying any type of pesticide: always read and follow all label directions. After watching this program, you should be able to answer a few key questions. The written answers to the questions are included in the video program package. If you can't answer correctly, review the program. Are you ready? Here goes. 1. What does the ingredient statement on the label tell you? 2. What are the signal words on the pesticide label, and what do they mean? 3. What kinds of information does the precaution section of the label provide? 4. Why should you check the label if you have an accident with a pesticide? 5. Tell me 4 things that might be included in the label section on directions for use.